I'm Dina, this is Creative Minds Homeschool, and you're watching How We Wrote It. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with 5 in a row, the whole point is you're supposed to choose you choose one of their books that they suggest, and you read them 5 times each. Over the course of however long you choose to do the row. I do them for 2 weeks, which for us usually ends up being about 7 or 8 days because we do 4-day weeks. So our book this week, or the last 2 weeks, was When I Was Young in the Mountains. And I'm going to go through and just talk about and show you their journals of what we did, and I'll put some video clips as I have them about the activities we did. So let's get started. This book is about basically a little girl that was growing up in the Appalachian Mountains, and it has a repetitive theme, which is when I was young in the mountains. So for example, it starts off, when I was young in the mountains, grandfather came home I've read this book I don't know how many times, and I still can't read it. When I was young in the mountains, grandfather came home in the evening covered with the black dust of a coal mine. Only his lips were clean, and he used them to kiss the top of my head. So that's how it goes, and it just goes along. When I was young in the mountains, and she tells all about, taking a trip to the outhouse, or the Johnny house that they called it, swimming in the water hole, what the store was like. So it just goes through. We talked a lot about the old times, how they took baths in tubs, warmed up by the wood stove when they were done. So it just was a great venture into history and all those things. So let's see. So the first day we talked about geography, and I'm just going to kind of take one of their journals and show you what we did. That might be the easiest thing here. So the first day we colored their cover sheet. They each colored. And then we found the states where the Appalachian Mountains were in, and we colored them. And we didn't actually even color all of them, but we just talked about some of the main ones that they're in. Oh, hello. So that was what we did on day 1. Pretty much read through our book, introduced what it was about, and looked up information about the Appalachian Mountains.
Right. We're finishing up our first day of When I Was Young in the Mountains coloring page.
No, look how neat I was. So pretty.
Angela did her coloring page.
So pretty.
She's making it so pretty. Elin.
I think mine is. That's neat.
On day 2, we discussed occupations. So we went through and found all of the occupations in our story. Grandfather was a coal miner. You had the shopkeepers. You had the preacher baptizing someone. It was a job. So there was a photographer that took their picture with them with a snake on their neck, wrapped around their necks. Totally would not have caught me in that picture. So we talked about occupations. We also played my occupations card game that I have from Hercule Products, is my little business I've done for many years. So that's just a quick play game where you each get a card and then you flip it over and you talk about what occupation you have, what do they do, that kind of thing. And then when we're done with that, there's different ones that say, oh, you got fired, you have to put your cards in the middle, that kind of thing. And whoever has the most is the winner. So we played that game. And then they also journaled about jobs they would like to do. So Elin was not in the most cooperative mood. So little Miss Thing was dressed as Batgirl that day. And it says, jobs I might like to do. Guess what? That's Batgirl's sidekick. And then we got a picture of Batgirl rescuing a little girl out of a tree. That was her, not the most cooperative version of that. But my other two had some really good answers. This is Evangeline's. She said, jobs I might like to do. This was, I can't remember what this was her doing on the front, but she had an explanation of that. I don't remember what it was. She wants to be a storm chaser, she says. And this was the tornado she drew. An acrobat. And a babysitter. So those were her occupations that she wanted to do. Everyone wanted to be a race car driver and a storm chaser and an Olympian. So, okie dokie. Okay, we just got through reading our book. And we are talking about occupations today. What is an occupation?
A job.
A job. Oh. What were some of the jobs in the story, Evangeline? Tell me one job in the story. Is your name Evangeline? I didn't think so.
Okay.
What was one, Evangeline?
A chore.
Oh, that was the kid jobs were chores, right? Everett, what was one
A
job?
miner.
A coal miner. Ethan, what was another job?
Shopkeeper.
Shopkeeper.
I know of one.
What?
Preacher.
A preacher. Oh, and then taking nap. That's a baby job.
That person is part of the Olympics. Let me see. They're carrying the torch for the Olympics, so they're that's an Olympian.
Look at my job. I'm the president.
What? What does the president do?
Help Congress and the whole entire country.
Yeah. All right. What is yours?
Fishing.
What does a fisherman do?
He fishes.
For what?
Fish.
Why?
And that starts. So he can eat them.
Yeah, that's providing food for people, right?
So that was the second day. Then, I'm juggling books all around here, guys. We talked about history, like the old days, like how things were back in a long time ago compared to how they are now. And I kind of compared how they were in my time. We also called my grandma, their great-grandma, and talked about how things were in her time.
And they did not have electricity. They only had kerosene lamps, and you had to carry the lamps from room to room.
So that was a great conversation. We looked through our book and found examples of the old time way to do things, like warming up by a wood stove, washing in a tub in a metal tub, and having to go to the water well to get water. Just like how they took pictures back then compared to how we take them now. Lots of things like that. Even the store, like how the things look in the store, how some things like butter was made from a churn back then, and now we get it in sticks or in a tub already done for us, So we talked about that. And then the kids' journal activity was them saying, if I can find it. Oh, okay, so this is Everett's. And I really need to do better about getting him lines to write on, because it makes it harder, So he says, a long time ago, there were outhouses. Now we have toilets. That was his picture. And then he said, a long time ago, they had butter churns. I don't know if you can see his churn. And he says, now there are butter sticks. And there's his stick of butter. I really should have made him color these too, but I didn't. A long time ago, men wore suits. Ooh, and we needed to correct the spelling on that too. And it says, now men wear t-shirts. Yeah, I need to make him correct his spelling. And doesn't look like this man's wearing any clothes at all. Hello. So, but that was what he said. And then the girls had other examples. Elin talked about how women back then, or girls back then, wore dresses all the time. And now we wear blue jeans more, or some, What else? Oh, that we use candles. Like when they went to the outhouse, they had to walk with a candle. Now we have flashlights. Let me see what else we did. That was day 3. Day 4, day 4 fell on the eclipse day. So for that day, we had all kinds of fun with the eclipse, and I will put some video clips in here because we really enjoyed that experience. That was awesome, y'all.
That lens is clear though.
Oh, it's a little darker. I need it a little darker.
Don't mess up your viewer.
That's
Yeah,
his
take
homemade
it
viewer,
out.
his other viewer.
Don't worry,
Oh,
Dad.
okay.
This is my 7 on 7. You can count to 7.
It is Sunday night and we are making Eclipse viewers for tomorrow.
They're so good. I saw a light. I can see 2 lights in there. 4.
Cool.
One on the bottom, one on the top. 5.
Awesome.
I can still see
What are you counting for, Ian?
6.
Even baby's joining the
Now.
party. Good morning, everybody. All right, it is Monday and it's Eclipse Day, so we're excited. Last night, Everett and Elon and Evangeline and Daddy made Eclipse viewers out of all the junk food boxes we had in our cabinets. So we're going to use those today. Daddy's going to actually come home early, I think, hopefully, to be able to get to see some of the eclipse with us. Yeah. And so we're starting morning circle time. So here's the crew. What do y'all want to say?
By the way, I made my own Eclipse viewer, but I'm not exactly sure if it'll. I can't see it.
You can't, it's because it's behind the clouds. You gotta wait till the clouds go away. When you can see the sun shining on the ground, that's when you turn around and let the sun be behind you and it'll go in here. Okay, so we have our pinhole viewers that we made, and they really work actually very well.
Let's go away.
Okay, it's pretty amazing. You can actually see the clouds in there when the sun's not out because it's kind of cloudy where we are. So the sun's like hiding behind the clouds and then coming out, and we can see it. And right now it's just a little bit eclipse for us, so it's pretty neat.
This is what Aaliyah's doing for the eclipse party. She's liking her toys, huh? What you doing? Say, hey guys, it's an eclipse party out there. Did you grab something? And it won't let you go?
What do you think?
Where are you? Dana?
Mommy,
Yeah, I'm right here.
I can see his face.
What do you see, Evangeline?
I see clouds and the sun. I see clouds
Cool.
all around it.
Is it covered up
No.
a little bit by the moon?
Maybe it was on the video. I see a crescent.
It's a crescent, yeah.
I see it.
Awesome.
Being eaten by the moon.
Oh.
All right, so it's getting cooler outside, which is awesome, and it's getting a little bit darker out here. Everybody's taking turns seeing what they can see. Evangeline said when the clouds covered the sun, she could see the clouds in her viewer. It's pretty cool. You can kind of really see the pattern of the sun shining through the clouds on there. It's really neat. This is the view from Everett's viewer. You can see the clouds
Mommy, want to
and
see
the
this?
shadow of the
Put this in
moon.
C. No, that's Hey, that's a weirdo spot. Mommy, alien. Alright,
That was really just a fun time, fun family time for everybody. Well, we made these Eclipse models. That was one thing we did. And we worked on these for a couple of days, actually, Monday and Tuesday. So we made these so we could see what an eclipse looks like. We also read some books, and I'll show you the books we read. We read Moon from National Geographic. Just kind of talks about the moon. We read Tell Me Why the Moon Changes Shape. And I also got this book, and I really need to get them to read it because I didn't read it to them because it's such a low level that I think they could all do it. So I'm going to have them read that probably today. I'll see who wants to read that. So that was our Eclipse Day, Monday, is what we did. Let me see. Next day, yes, I'm like, what did we do for that? We talked more about the mountains. So I found this map, and really I've been doing printables as we go. I don't do it ahead of time, just the night before if I think, oh, well, let me see about that. So we colored the mountain ranges that are in North America where we are and talked about where they are, found the Appalachian Mountains. We talked about the names of them, and that kind of thing. So that was our, and we read some books about mountains. I read blurbs out of some of these books. Mountains. I have another, I don't know where I put them. Why are there mountains? So we read that, and that was our day that time. Then the next day, we did some art. I was gonna do, we did talk about how there is a repetitious theme. When I was young in the mountains, we talked about, that was our language arts part, it was repetitive theme throughout that just kind of draws the reader in and everything. I'm having a mental block about what else we talked about on that day. But let's see. Let me see if, okay. Then we did snakes. We didn't have a draw right now picture to do. I didn't have it in any of the ones that I have. So I found this other drawing book that I have. It's a Walter Foster Watch Me Draw. And they have a very simple picture of a snake in here that we did. If I can find it, I'll show you. That right there. And so they each drew, and then we just came up with some sentences about it. Let's see, I gotta find where he put it because it's not, I don't know why we skipped 14 pages to get here, but he said, I love pythons. I love pythons because they have 100 plus backbones. Pythons are pretty. So that's what he said. And then the girls, I think Elin still needs to finish her sentences, but I'll show you her drawing. I thought she did a good job. She said, snakes can be big or small. Snakes have no arms or legs. That was hers. And then Evangeline, I pretty much had them, it was more like copy work for them. Like they copied my sentences. Hers just says, oh, she's the one that needed to finish. Snakes have no arms or legs. And this was her drawing of like the mama snake with the baby snakes and eggs and different, this is a rainbow snake hiding in the grass. And we also have out, since we're talking about snakes, we have a bunch of toy snakes out for them to hold while I'm reading my story.
Got different.
Oh, you did a good job.
Live on
Tell me about what you drew, Evangeline.
I drew a snake blinking into the grass, a cave with a bunch of snakes in there and its mama, and then I did this one with their mama.
Awesome.
And this is Dad, this is the mom cooking graphics. Your hands were going to get graphics. How did you make yours so well? Not cooking.
So we did those and we read snakes. Snakes creep me out so bad, y'all. Ugh. Snakes again, a different book about snakes. And Snake's Biggest Littlest. Did y'all like learning about snakes?
Yeah!
Yeah, what'd you learn about snakes?
I learned about, like, they have underwear. Anything.
Underwear?
No, they had no underwear. Just kidding.
Kind of like armor?
Yeah.
Their scales are like armor?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you like learning about snakes?
All of it.
All of it? What was your
And
favorite
it's pretty
thing?
cool that their mouth can stretch really wide, even though they look very skinny.
Yeah, what can they eat that's so big?
An egg.
An egg? What else?
A frog.
What did we see that big snake eating? What did it look like?
An egg.
A deer. His mouth stretched big enough to eat a deer. That was crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's good.
So that's what we did, and then we concluded our whole 5 in a row. Our last, I forgot to show y'all this. We filled this out about the eclipse. They each filled one out and told where they were. They were in their backyard. They were with their family. They drew a picture of who they were with. Evangeline said she'll always remember the sun was a crescent, or that's what we saw of it. And she learned the sun can burn her eyes. And the other two, I loved Everett's. He talked about how he got to see the eclipse with his daddy. And I love that. I love that we do school in a way that we can do it as a family at times. And I think that's awesome. All right. So, and then we concluded the last day of our 5 in a row, which I think this is what we're going to keep doing. We did a journal about my favorite part of the story was fill in the blank. So Evangeline said her favorite part of the story, it says, my favorite part of the story was when the boy got baptized. And she drew a picture of that. And then that night, during family movie night, I guess you could call it, no, I didn't sit down and watch the show, most of it. I watched some of it, but not all of it. We watched a show from Amazon called Appalachian Trail, and it was about these kids, 2 families that go hiking in the Appalachian Mountains or camping in the mountains, and they get lost. So it's kind of an adventure story and whatever. And it, I think it was a Christian movie. It had Christian themes in there, which was fine. My kids don't get a lot of TV, so they're not real picky if it's like a B movie. They don't know yet. So, but it seemed like a good show, you know. So anyway, and I like that the scenery was the mountains that we had just been talking about. So that is how we wrote it, guys. If you like this video, feel free to give it some love, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you around next time.